Warning: if you're not ready to meet the darkest part of yourself, click away now. This isn't motivational. This isn't healing. This is confrontation. The version of you that smiles in daylight is only half the story, and the version you buried deep is waking up. Welcome to Fill a Spiral, where the truth isn't comforting. It's brutal. Let's begin. There's a part of you you've never fully met. You've heard it in moments of rage, felt it during heartbreak, seen it in the mirror at 3 a.m. when you're not wearing your personality. That part of you, the impulsive one, the jealous one, the angry one, the wild one, that's your shadow. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychoanalyst, called it the shadow self. It's the collection of all the things you've repressed, denied, or disowned throughout your life. Everything society told you was unacceptable, everything your parents punished, everything religion called sin. You weren't born ashamed of your shadow. You were taught to be. As a child, you cried when you were hurt, yelled when you were angry, asked questions when confused. But somewhere along the way you were told, stop crying, don't be so dramatic, good kids don't get angry. So you buried it, pushed it down, smiled when you wanted to scream, said, I'm fine when you were breaking. And with every moment of suppression, your shadow grew stronger, quieter, but stronger. Here's the truth most people can't handle. The shadow doesn't disappear. It waits. And the more you repress it, the more power it gains until one day it takes over. That's why good people sometimes explode. Why the most polite souls suddenly sabotage relationships, careers, their entire lives. It's not random. It's the revenge of the repressed self. See, the shadow doesn't want to hurt you. It wants to be seen. But you keep rejecting it. So it gets louder through projection, addiction, self-destruction, passive aggression. You ever wonder why you hate certain people for no reason? Why someone's confidence irritates you? Why someone's vulnerability makes you uncomfortable? That's your shadow seeing itself in others and lashing out. You don't hate them. You hate the part of yourself they remind you of. Let that sink in. Shadow work isn't optional. It's inevitable. Either you face it consciously, or it ruins you subconsciously. But here's the terrifying part. The shadow isn't just your anger, jealousy, or shame. It also contains your power. The voice you silenced. The passion you dimmed. The fire you were told was too much. Your ambition, your sexuality, your confidence, your intuition, all buried under the same ground as your pain. So every time you reject your darkness, you also reject your brilliance. Think of it like this. If your ego is the mask, the shadow is the face beneath. And until you remove the mask, no one, not even you, knows who you really are. But be warned. Confronting your shadow isn't a gentle process. It breaks you open. You'll cry for reasons you can't explain. You'll grieve the person you pretended to be. And you'll realize how many of your choices were actually made by fear, not freedom. You'll see that your desire to be good came from guilt. That your people-pleasing was manipulation disguised as kindness. That your relationships were contracts built on fear of abandonment, not love. And in that moment, when the illusions fall, something else begins. You don't become perfect, you become whole. Integration is not about becoming nice. It's about becoming real. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate." Most people are victims of their shadow and they don't even know it. They think it's fate that they always sabotage relationships, fate that they attract toxic partners, fate that they fail right before success. It's not fate. It's the part of you you've never listened to screaming in silence. You want to know your shadow? Look at your patterns. Look at your triggers. Look at the parts of others that make you furious. The shadow reveals itself not in what you say, but in what you hate. You'll know you're facing your shadow when the truth becomes uncomfortable. When you stop blaming others and start asking, "What am I still running from?" You'll realize your biggest enemy wasn't your ex, your parents, your boss, or your past. It was you. Not the conscious you, but the one hiding behind masks, personas, and social survival mechanisms. The one that learned how to perform but forgot how to feel. So, how do you start this work? Start by observing, not judging. When you're triggered, pause. Don't justify. Don't fight it. Just ask, what is this emotion trying to show me about myself? When you envy someone, ask, what do they have that I secretly desire but feel unworthy of? When you hate someone, ask, what part of me do they remind me of that I've disowned? And when you feel shame, ask, whose voice is this? Who taught me to feel this way? Slowly, the shadow becomes visible, and once it's visible, it loses control. But it doesn't vanish. It integrates. And with integration comes a kind of power no external success can give you: sovereignty. The ability to choose your response, to sit in discomfort, to love yourself as is, not as a performance. Your shadow is not evil. It's wounded, and every time you avoid it, you deepen the wound. But every time you face it with honesty, curiosity, and compassion, you heal it. And the more shadow you integrate, the more whole you become. You stop needing approval. You stop chasing love. You stop fearing rejection. Because you no longer need to be perfect. You just need to be you. And that you, the real you, is terrifying. Not because it's bad, but because it's powerful, uncontrollable, unpredictable, alive. That's what society fears. That's why schools, religion, and governments teach you to obey, to conform, to be good. Because a person who has integrated their shadow is not controllable. They're not easily offended. They're not easy to manipulate. They think deeply, feel deeply, act deliberately, and that kind of person is dangerous. You were not born to be good. You were born to be whole, and wholeness includes your rage, your lust, your sadness, your madness, your truth. So, the next time someone says, "You've changed," say, "No, I've just stopped hiding." And when the world calls you crazy, say, "Good, I'd rather be insane than fake." Because the shadow never dies, but if you befriend it, it becomes your greatest ally. The greatest war you will ever fight is not with the world. It's between the person you pretend to be and the one you were born to become. Choose wisely. This is Philospiral. And now that you've seen your shadow, what are you going to do about it?